Okay, so this is AutoCAD. It's launched, and this is the opening screen, if you will. Yours should look similar to mine. Before I get into the interface itself, I do want to point out down here in the left-hand corner, there are some links. This one says what's new. So if I click on that link, and I'll do that right now, what that's going to show me, let me bring it over to the screen for all of you to see. Right? It's showing me what's new in AutoCAD 2022. This is helpful for anybody who has used previous versions of AutoCAD. So for example, if you start here with 2022 and eventually you move on to use the next version, which would be 2023, you'll see the same thing. They'll show you what's new in 2023. So it's good to see this for those that have been upgrading, right? So it's helpful. Just wanted to point that out. To see that. And then of course over here on the sidebar we have what's new with the new features. It's an overview. You can tour the user interface, which we'll be doing in just a little bit, and that's also helpful, along with other links. All right, let me minimize that. And then there's also this link here, online help. This one is great. I'm going to click on that right now, and what does that do? Brings me back to the same location. But on this one, I can see that I have some resources here on the right side, and then I have links on the left, getting started. This is Hitchhiker's Guide to AutoCAD. If you click on that, it'll show you all of this. And I've provided you with links to some of these specifically. So for example, basics here, right? Review the basics of AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT controls. If I click on that, it's showing you, right? What is it that you're seeing? After you launch AutoCAD, you can click on New, you can click on Open, you got drawing tabs, you've got the ribbon. I'll go through this with you in just a moment, but I just wanted to show you that it's here also. If I go back a second, and then I go over here to where it says View, Pan and Zoom to different views in the drawing. If I click on that, shows you how I can view and manipulate my way around the space. So those are helpful links. I'll close it out. And that's available down here, okay? And those two are really the ones that you can focus on. All right, what I'd like to do right now is just do a very quick intro, just to orient you and get you comfortable with AutoCAD. So what I'm going to do is simply click on, let's see, if I click on the down arrow here where it says open, no, I don't have anything yet. So I want to click on new, but I'm not going to click here. I'm going to click on the drop down. And I'd like to use a template. And I want to select my AutoCAD drawing template. That's what the extension means. .dwt is your drawing template. If you don't see that listed here, you're welcome to click on Browse Templates. And when you do that, it will open this window. And it'll take you straight to the template folder. And in this template folder, you can highlight, you can click on the AutoCAD drawing template here. And once you click on it one time, then you go ahead and click on open. And that assures you that you are using the right template for this course. I'm going to come up to the top here and show you my application button, that A at the top. And this application button is where I can go to open up or create a new drawing. I can open up an existing drawing file. I can save my file. I can also save it as something different. And then I can also print my file and then close. Eventually, I'll show you also how to use the options here. But for now, this is just me quickly showing you what this application button does. Okay, I'll click on it again to close it. Next to that, here are some of the quick tools that are available. You can click on New to create a new blank drawing, open one, save it as, right? One thing I want to point out with AutoCAD is that there are multiple ways to achieve the same goals. And you'll see that coming up in just a little bit. But let me continue with the interface, right? So up here at the top, this is my quick toolbar. And then I can click on this down arrow. On this down arrow, I can customize this quick access toolbar. So I can add more icons up there. So for example, which one would I want to add? Maybe properties. Right? You see how it drops in a new icon. But if I don't want to see the properties up there, we'll just turn it off and leave it at that. After that, you have your tabs. So if I click on the Home tab, it opens up a different set of panels. If I click on Insert, different set of panels. And what you'll hear me say a lot at the very beginning, you'll hear me refer to this as Home tab. And then if I pick an icon within this panel, I'll refer to it as the Draw panel. If I pick an icon within this panel, that's the Modify panel. So I'm always going to indicate the tab, the panel, and then the tool, or in AutoCAD's case, the command, right, to draw a line. So that's the ribbon along the top. And we're all familiar with it because pretty much every Windows-based program has a ribbon associated with it. Okay, moving on down. I still have my Start tab. And if I click on the Start tab, it takes me back to that first window that I saw when I opened AutoCAD. And I can definitely open a file from here or start a new drawing file. For you, you're going to see your last set of files listed here in this recent window. I don't have that turned on mine for now, but you will see it on yours. Okay, back to drawing one I go. And by the way, you're going to see that if I just hover over drawing one, and let me click on it first. That way it clears it up. Okay. If I hover over this for just a second, you'll notice that it opens or shows me that I can go into my model space, or I can hover over here and go into a layout, either the first one or the second one. Don't click on these at this point. Just always stay in model for now, and I'll explain that to you later in class. So I'm going to click on model. I'm already there. Just want to make sure. Okay, those are my tabs. And if I actually start a new drawing file, so for example, here, if I click start and I go new, and I'm still going to use the template, you'll see that it adds another tab. So I can actually go between drawing one and drawing two. So I can, have multiple drawings open at once. So just wanted to show that to you. Let me close this one out. This area that you see, this screen, and where you see my cursor right now, this is what we refer to as model space. That's a very old term in AutoCAD. And sometimes we just refer to it as MS. That's short for model space. This space extends infinitely. So you can draw an object as big as you want or as small as you want. As I've heard it said before, I can draw the solar system at actual size in AutoCAD, or I can draw an atom at actual size in AutoCAD. That's how the space functions. It is based on the Cartesian coordinate system. That means that it has a start point of 0, 0. And if I just zoom out for a moment, and I'll show you how to zoom out a little later, you'll see down over here, this is what we refer to as the UCS icon. And it's already showing me where that point of origin is. That's where my X equals 0 and Y equals 0 will be, right here. And then this icon is actually showing me that X moves along this red axis, and it's going positive from this location over to the right. So when I begin drawing, I'm always going to start at this point and move in this area. I also have my y-axis just showing me, and it starts at 0 here. And as I move my way up the green axis, the y value increases. So it's a Cartesian coordinate system. For those of you that have taken geometry, trigonometry, algebra, you're familiar with it. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out some more and pan, and I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit. But that's the interface. Down here at the bottom is my command line. Now, I'm going to click right here on this bar, click and drag it and just float it here for just a moment. This command line is critical to your success in AutoCAD. Keep one eye on the command line and one eye on your drawing. That's my rule of thumb, because this is how you communicate with this program. It's an older program. Like I said, it's been around for many, many years. It started out as a DOS-based program. For any of you familiar with DOS, that's all keyboard driven. There were no graphics, and that's how we started using AutoCAD. So this is the way we would input information, and this is how we would get information from AutoCAD as to how to proceed next. So here, let me just give you a quick example, right? If I go to draw a line right now, I click on line, and you'll see in the command line, it says line, right? Because I clicked on the icon, it typed it for me. And then the next line says specify first point. I need to see that. I need to be familiar with it. And now it's waiting for me to specify a first point. And if I just click one time, now it's saying, okay, now specify the next point. All right, so I click here, and I can click here, and I keep specifying points. And you'll notice how AutoCAD is just kind of stuck in a loop here. And the way to terminate this loop, if you will, I just have to end this line command. So I just enter, and it stops, right? But this is how I keep an eye on what I need to do in AutoCAD. So it's very, very helpful. Do not close it. In fact, what I'm going to recommend that you do is you take it, move it down to the bottom, and as soon as keep clicking down, and as soon as you see it extend to this long rectangle, ghosted rectangle, release the mouse button. And when you do that, it locks to the bottom of the screen. And then the next thing that I'm going to ask that you do with your interface is hover right here until you get that two-way arrow, so you can make this window bigger. And I made mine just a little bit bigger just to show, to exaggerate this, but you want to see at least 3 lines of that command line, right? So I have 1, 2, and then the third line here. And the reason for that is because when I go to pick a command, right, for example, let's say circle, right, it appears at the top of the command line here. And then at the bottom, it says, okay, what do you want to do? Draw a circle, specify the center point. Okay, center point is right here. And then it continues, but you'll notice that it keeps adding to that running tab, right? So I can't stress it enough. Let me tap the escape key because I don't want to do a circle now. I can't stress enough how important this command line is. Do not close it. If you close it, I have to show you how to open that back up, but we're good. Next is the tabs down here where it says model, layout 1, layout 2. These are just tabs, and I can click on the tabs and switch between different spaces, between model space here and then a layout. We're not going to touch that yet. We're going to leave it alone. But I just wanted to show that to you, and you always want to see it down there. Moving on down the line over here, you'll see in this area, these are my coordinates. And you'll notice if I go to draw a line, I can click at one point here, and then it will let me know where the next point is going to land, right? And it's changing. Let me right click, enter, and be done with that. But what I'd like to do is actually, I click on coordinates, and now you notice how every time I move my cursor, the coordinates are changing. And those are my X, Y, and Z coordinates. Now watch this. If I come really close to 0 over here, you'll see that where it's almost exactly at X equals 0, Y equals 0, which is nice. After that, you'll see where it says model. That means I am in model space. And notice how it says or paper space. We're going to talk about this later on in the semester. We'll get into paper space, but little hint, paper space and layout, they mean the same thing. And then after that, I have my drawing aids. So this one here displays the drawing grid, and it's active right now. That's why you see it in blue. But if I click on it, that means I am toggling it off. So one click makes that grid go away. And you're going to see me turn that grid off a lot. The reason for that is because I've grown up with AutoCAD and I'm used to not seeing a grid. They introduced this grid a few versions ago. For me, it's distracting. But I know that, you know, for students that are starting to use it now, they get used to it, they're comfortable. So it's a matter of personal preference, and I'm okay with that. Next to that, we have our snap mode. We don't use snaps for architectural drawings. After that, I have something here called dynamic input. So if you notice when I clicked on line, I have that dynamic input. It's showing it to me on the screen. If I turn this off, now it's gone away. It could be distracting. That's why they give you the option of turning it on and off. So I'll bring it back so I can see it. There we go. Let me tap the escape key. Next to that, we have this ortho mode. I'll talk a little bit about that. I've got polar. Don't worry about this isometric drafting. I also have object snap tracking, which is great. My object snaps, and then just a few more that we'll get into eventually. By the way, if you're not seeing your coordinates over here, you can come over to the bar where it says customize in the very lower right-hand corner and click on that. And when you click on that to customize, you can see here, let's see, give me a moment because I have to find it. Give me a second because I have all of these turned on. No. Oh, there we go, all the way at the top. If I click on coordinates, you'll see how it goes away. So go ahead and turn on the coordinates if you want to see them. And if you don't, that's okay. The other thing that I also like to keep on is this selection cycling, which I currently have off. That's helpful. So go ahead and turn that on. And then everything else also is pretty darn good to have on. So that's a quick intro to the interface. The last thing I want to show you are these tabs on either side that you see here. If I just hover over this one, it says Layer Properties Manager, it opens up. And if I hover away from it, it will collapse. These are nice. Let me just float this one so you can see it a little better. Give me a second. There we go. So I can float these around. And if you have two screens, as is typical in a lot of architectural firms these days, you can take this and move it off to another screen so it doesn't take up too much real estate on this screen. But for the sake of class, I'm always going to keep everything here on screen so you can see it. So this is one that I use often, and then I'm also going to use this external reference later on in class. And then over here, you can see it, it's set to auto hide. If I click on the gear, I can go ahead and anchor it onto the left, just where it was before. If I hover over it again, you'll see this icon here, auto hide, that's currently turned on. But if I turn auto hide off, then this will always stay open. And I don't really need that to be the case. So I need to come back over here and let's see, I got to float you. And then I have to turn auto hide back on. And then I will go and click on the gear and anchor it to the left. That's basically the interface. The last thing I'll just quickly mention is this icon over here. We're not going to use this. Let this be. And then over here, we also have this navigation wheel. And I don't use this a lot. Actually, I don't use it at all. But if I click on the navigation wheel and bring it out, you'll see that I can zoom in and out. I can go ahead and pan, but I have better ways of doing that. And I'm not going to use this wheel for that. Okay. Are there any questions? That's just a quick overview of the interface. And then the last thing I want to point out, for example, what's nice is there's always going to be some help. So if I hover over a line like this, see where it says, press F1 for more help. If I press my F1 key right now, and that's my function key on the keyboard, what it will do is it's going to launch that AutoCAD quick reference. It's going to take me straight to that line command and give me a really in-depth explanation. Something else that I wanted to point out up here, you can type in a keyword or a phrase. So for example, if I type in circle and enter, it'll take me straight and tell me all the information about the circle that I would need to know. It's showing me a lot of results. Here we go, circle command, right? You have to look through it, but here it is, circle command. And then it'll explain to me. Now let's see if it'll find it. Nope, still hiding. Interesting. Okay, so you have that at your fingertips. Also, you'll see that I'm logged in. If you have your Autodesk account, you will also be logged in, and it's helpful. It's just good to have an account with them, with Autodesk. It's your student account.